Hello whistlers everywhere. So today's video is going to be about counting rhythm, understanding about time signatures and note values. So the important thing about written music is, I've mentioned previously, it gives you two pieces of information, or two important pieces of information. There are more, but we're just going to talk about the two main pieces of information that the note will give you. It will give you the pitch, how high or how low you would need to play the note, but it also gives you the duration, how long or how short the note is. And it's all about counting rhythm, and counting rhythm gives you the structure of the piece. The notes, yes, they give you the pitch and they tell you kind of how the tune goes, but without the rhythm, without the note values, without being able to count, then it's just a series of kind of random notes. So the important thing in today's lesson is that we're going to break down and have a look at how we count rhythm. So first and foremost, let's talk about what a time signature is. So when you look at a piece of music and you might see this time signature in 2/4, or you might see a time signature in 4/4, you might see in 3/4, probably won't see anything in 6/4, though it does exist, and 7/4 does, but let's not concern ourselves with the more unusual time signatures. So the most common ones are 2/4, 3/4 and 4/4. So we have two numbers here. So the two numbers are giving us two different kinds of information. So along with this video, I'm going to refer to crotchets, quavers, semibreves, minims. But for those of you over in the States or possibly Canada, other parts of the world, I'll also be using whole note, half note, quarter note, eighth note, and 16th if we get that far. So let's look at the time signature. So let's take 2/4 for example. So the top number, the 2, is telling us how many beats there are in the bar. Now a bar is just a way of separating the tune or the rhythm into portions which add up to the time signature. So in 2/4 we're counting in 2, but the bottom number is giving us the kind of beat that we're counting in. So in 2/4 we will be counting in 2 crotchets or 2 quarter notes. So a quarter note or a crotchet, yeah, is a single beat. So if I'm counting in 2/4 time, yeah, there'll be 2 quarter notes in each bar, or 2 crotchets in each bar. So if we're counting 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So that's giving us our 2 beats in the bar. Now if we're counting in 3, then that will be 3 quarter notes or 3 crotchets in a bar. So it will go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that's giving us the time signature, and the same thing with 4/4. We're counting in 4 quarter notes or 4 crotchets. 4/4 is also known as common time, and sometimes you'll see it denoted as a C. So C is common time, which also means we're counting in 4/4. So it'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there you have it. These are the common time signatures that you will see when we're counting in quarter notes or crotchets. So we've got 2/4, 3/4, and 4/4. So when you're counting, yeah, we need to keep those beats steady. And again, in terms of using a click or a metronome, that will help you initially to count in a steady way. So the beats have to come down exactly where they need to do. So again in 2/4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. 3/4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 4/4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the bars add up to 2 beats or 2 quarter note beats because we're counting in 2/4, 4 being a quarter note or a crotchet, 3/4, 3 beats in the bar or 3 crotchet beats in a bar, and 4/4, 4 crotchet beats in a bar. And so a crotchet beat basically looks like a little circle with the stick on it. Now the circle is filled in on a quarter note, and that's what we'll be counting in 4. Okay, so let's have a look at another time signature which is common in traditional music. So 2/4, 3/4, and 4/4 are known as simple time. They're not divided by anything, that you can't group them together. So simple time is 2/4, 3/4, or 4/4. Now, if we look at what we call jig time, or 6/8, now we're counting in 6/8 notes, or 6 quavers. And the count will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6/8 and 9/8 and 12/8, which you will occasionally see, are known as compound time signatures because they're grouped in groups of 3 usually. So with compound time, it means we can divide them into smaller beats. So when I mean that, in 6/8, rather than counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the same with 9/8. Rather than counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, we can count in groups of 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So if you think when you play a jig, or when you sort of want to clap along, or if you're tapping your foot, you will tap on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Or a slip jig, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And the same thing with 12/8. So we want 12 eighth notes, or 12 quavers in each bar. And so we're counting in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Or if I do it counting in quavers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. But usually we will count compound time where we would tap our foot or where we would clap, and we break it down into groups of either 2 groups of 3, 3 groups of 3, or 4 groups of 3, depending on the time signature. So with 6/8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 9/8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So with compound time, we tend to, as I mentioned, break things down into smaller groups. But in 9/8, 6/8, 12/8, we are counting in eighth notes. So the bottom note is telling you what kind of beat we're counting in. So 6/8, we've got 6 eighth notes or 6 quavers. 9/8, 9 eighth notes or 9 quavers. And 12/8, same thing, 12 eighth notes or 12 quavers, depending on which you're used to using. So time signatures, there are other time signatures, but we'll not get into those because things like 5/4 or 7/8 or 13/8 or whatever. So yeah, let's just see use the most common time signatures. So regarding time signatures, the most important thing is to remember to keep the beat steady when you're counting. And that's basically what a metronome is there for. It's there to keep a steady beat. I'm going to do another video at some point on the best way to use metronomes when you are practicing. It's an important thing or important part of practice is to use a metronome. However, it's a tool like anything else, and it's got to be used in a way which is going to promote you being able to use your internal clock or your internal method of counting. So it's a tool, but a tool which you shouldn't become too reliant on, because we need to look at developing your own internal sense of pulse and rhythm. So there you have it. This is time signatures. And the next section, I'm going to look at the notes themselves and talk a little bit about how we divide those notes into beats. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about time signatures, and now we are going to look at what we call note values. So each note will have a rhythm value. Now, depending on what the note looks like in terms of whether it has a stick, whether the note is filled in, whether the note has a tail, or whether the note is beamed together, it will give you the information regarding on how you need to count that note value. So let's start at the top with the longest note value. There are longer note values, but we're not going to really encounter them. So we're going to start with the whole note or the semibreve, and that lasts for the count of 4. So in our counting 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, our note value will last for the full duration of a bar of 4/4. So here's my whistle, which I'm playing one-handed, as I need to count the time with the other hand. So I'm going to play the note G just to give you an idea of how the note values work. So here's the count: 1, 2, 3, 4. And so if you have a look at the picture, the semibreve or the whole note just looks like a circle or a note shape with an empty space in the middle. So the next note value we're going to look at is called a minim or a half note, and that will last for the count of 2 beats. So here's our 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll sustain the minim or half note for 2 beats. So here we go: 1, 2, 3, 4. So a minim just looks like a semibreve or a whole note, but it has a stem. So it's the note shape without any colouring in or blacking in, and it's got the stem. So the next note we're going to look at is called a crotchet, or it's also known as a quarter note, and that is going to last for the count of 1 beat. So here's our count: 1, 2, 3, 4. So if we're counting in 4/4, the crotchet or quarter note will last for one beat. So it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. One beat in 4/4 is a crotchet, so we'll have 4 beats. So 1 on each quarter note. So moving on, we have the 8th note or the quaver. So a single 8th note or a single quaver will have a little tail on it, but when they're joined together, they'll have what's called a beam or a single beam. One line which joins 2 or 3 or sometimes 4 quavers together, 8th notes. So here's the count: 1, 2, 3, 4. And with the quavers we count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So the next grouping will be semiquavers or 16th notes. We will get, in a bar of 4/4, we will get 16 semiquavers, half a quaver, 16th notes. So here's the count: 1, 2, 3, 4. And we count 1 ah and ah, 2 ah and ah, 3 ah and ah, 4 ah and ah, 1 ah and ah, 2 ah and ah, 3 ah and ah, 4 ah and ah. So semiquavers, when they're on their own, they have 2 little tails. When they're grouped together with a beam, they have 2 lines. So the quaver or the 8th note has 1 beam. The semiquaver or 16th note will have 2 beams if they're joined together in groups of 2, 3, 4 or more. They'll have 2 beams across it. If it's on its own, 1 semiquaver or 1 quaver, the quaver will have a little tail. The semiquaver will have 2 little tails. Okay, so we've done note values of a whole note, or which lasts 4 beats, a minim or a half note, which lasts 2 beats, a crotchet or a quarter note, so that lasts 1 beat each. And then we have the quaver, which is half a beat, and then the semiquaver, which is a quarter of a beat. So we have the quaver, which is also known as an 8th note, and semiquavers, which are also known as 16th notes. But what about if we want a note value which is worth 3 beats? Now this is where we start looking at a dotted note. And what a dot on the right hand side of the note does, not underneath or not above, that means something different, but to the right hand side of the note, it will increase the note's original value by half. So if we have a minim or a half note, which is 2 beats, we increase it by half of its original value, which is 1 beat. So altogether we have 3 beats. So dotted minim or dotted half note is worth 3 beats. So we'll count it in 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So whenever you see a dot directly to the right of a note, it's telling you that you need to increase that note's value by half of its original value. So if we have a dot next to a quarter note or a crotchet, then that is going to be worth 1 plus half of its original value, which is a half. So it's going to be worth 1.5 beats. And so we will count that 1 and a, 2 and a, 1 and a, 2 and a. So quite often dotted notes or dotted crotchets or dotted quarter notes, as they're also known as, will follow a quaver or an eighth note after it. So it will go 1 and a, 2 and a, 1 and a, 2 and a. So 1 and a, 2 and a, 1 and a, 2 and a, 1 and a, 2 and a, 1 and a, 2 and a. So you just have to remember that the dotted quarter note, dotted crotchet, is equivalent to 3 eighth notes or 3 quavers. So it's easier to count them as quavers or eighth notes rather than 1 and then adding a half. So just break it down whenever you see a dotted quarter note or dotted crotchet. Break it down and count it as 3 eighth notes. We do have dotted quavers or dotted eighth notes, and that will be the same rule. So the dotted quaver will be worth 3 16th notes or 3 semiquavers. You find dotted quavers and a semiquaver often found in hornpipes. It gives you that da 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 da. So if we look at a tune like Harvest Home, yeah, dotted quaver, semiquaver, dotted eighth note, 16th note. And so that's what a dot does. Just remember the rule whenever you see a dot to the right hand side of the note. It increases the note by half of its original value. Okay, so let's have a look at a tune and let's count the rhythm before we play it. So the tune we're going to use is a tune called The Dawning of the Day. It's also known as Raglan Road. It's a lovely Irish air, and it's fairly simple in its construction, but I'm going to go through it and we're going to count the rhythm before we play it. So this tune starts on the 4th beat. So when you count yourself in, it count 1, 2, 3, because the beginning is 4 and. Now the reason for this is that not all tunes will start on the first beat of the bar, and the technical name for this is an anacrusis. So we're starting on an anacrusis, which sounds a bit like a Harry Potter spell, but that's the technical name for it. We sometimes call it just a pickup or a pickup note or notes. So with the dawning of the day, we have 2 eighth notes. So we want to count 4 and. So if we look at the music, we count 1, 2, 3, 4 and. So what I'm going to do is we're going to keep a steady rhythm, and I'm going to count as we go. So I'll just do it line by line and see if you can follow the counting. So here's the beat. We're counting in 4/4. So if you remember, we're counting in 4 quarter notes, and each bar will add up to 4 quarter notes. So here's the count: 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm coming in on the 4th beat with 4 and. So this is how I'm going to count the first line: 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, second line. Now this is where we've got the dotted crotchet or dotted quarter note. So we're going to count 1 and 2, and then followed by 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Okay, so here's the count. Second line. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there we had the dotted crotchet or the dotted quarter note, and at the end of that line we have the dotted minim, which again, remember, lasts for 3 beats. Okay, so the third line, we've got the dotted crotchet again, or dotted quarter note, and that occurs several times. So we've got 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the last line, we've got the count again. 1, 2, 3, 4. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so you've noticed the last bar has only got 3 beats in it. And the reason for this is because if we start with the anacrusis or the pickup notes, we have to finish with what we started with in terms of note values. So because we've got 2 beats added, or 1 beat or 2 eighth notes added to the beginning, we have to take away at the end to balance the piece out. So with the pickup notes, you'll find that always at the end, the note value is subtracted from the last note or the last bar to make up for the notes that have gone before the first bar. So it's just taking away from the end what you've added to the beginning. Okay, so what I'm going to do in the next bit is I'm going to play through with the counting. Okay, so we've counted it out, we've got the rhythm. I'm going to clap the rhythm now. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now that we've clapped through the rhythm, we've counted it, let's play it. Okay, so here we go. See if you can follow it. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we had a look at a tune The Dawning of the Day or Raglan Road. Now let's have a look at something in 6/8 time. Raglan Road was in 4/4, so we were counting in 4 crotchets or 4 quarter notes. Now 6/8 time is also known as jig time, and as I said in the time signatures bit at the beginning, it's known as compound time. So we'll count it in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if we have a look at this tune now called Rose in the Heather, which is a jig, yeah, we're going to count out the beats, and then I'll clap the beats and then we'll play the tune. So here's the beat: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we'll count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And so we've got the repeat sign, we go back, and then we've got the second time bar where we go up to the next part, or the B part. So I'm going to start from the B part. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so keeping that steady beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to clap the rhythm. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then we go back to the beginning, and then we'll go and have a look at the second half now. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And again, second time bar when we go back. First time bar we repeat. Second time bar is when we come back and finish the piece. Okay, so I'll play Rose in the Heather for you. I won't put any ornamentation in because I don't want to distract from the counts, but we will keep it steady. Yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we repeat. So then we go on to the second time bar and go to the B part. And then repeat back to the second time bar. and that's how we count the rhythm on the jig. So 6/8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Compound time, 2 groups of 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's a jig. There are lots of other tunes you can try and have a look at and count the rhythm. So it's important to be able to count the rhythm and to look at a piece and see how it's structured in terms of the rhythm and how you would count it out. So have a go, take a piece, any piece you like, probably not something too complicated, and see if you can figure out how you count the rhythm. There's a lot, I know, to take in terms of rhythm and counting. And if you do get into any problems or you do find yourself scratching your head and saying, oh, I don't quite understand what this bearded chap is going on about, please do contact me. You can email me at ben@benwalker.org, or if you leave a comment here, or even if you want to leave a comment on my Facebook page, Ben Walker Music. I'll happily go over things with people and try and explain in a way which will help you to understand about rhythm and counting. As I said, it's not so straightforward because there's a lot of information to take in, but it is logical, it does make sense, and counting rhythm is really, really important. It's a great skill to develop, and again, just practice. Take any tune, have a look at it and see if you can figure out how the tune goes rhythmically, and then add the notes, which we've had a look at in the first couple of videos, and see how you get on. As I mentioned, if you get horribly stuck or you're not sure, please do contact me. I'm happy to help out any whistlers with any aspect of whistling or reading music or counting. Yeah, so there you go. I hope you found this video useful. If you have, then if you would like to possibly subscribe to this Whistleblowers channel, give it a like, tell all your friends about us. Tell your enemies about us if you like. But yeah, hopefully you found it useful. So I will maybe do another video in regards to counting and rhythm. There's so much to take in. The other thing that we need to look at is how we structure ornamentation within the rhythm, which is a whole can of worms, if you like. There's a lot to think about in terms of ornamentation, so I'll be doing a video on how we look at ornamentations in terms of rhythm, because ornamentation has its rhythm and it has its place within the tune, so we need to look at how we structure the ornaments within a tune. Okay, well, that's enough of me waffling on about counting and rhythm. So you all take care, and I shall see you soon. Okay, bye for now, folks.